Hello, Dr. Coker here, and this is a guide to The Final Day, the trial where you encounter the Endsinger. So you've come all this way, and riding on the back of Dragon Xenos, the journey is coming to a close in a grand spectacle. Let's get started. The first thing she'll cast is Elegeia. This will open with unavoidable damage to everyone, then spawn two planets outside the arena, a slow one and a fast one. The important thing to do here is stay far away from the slow one, as the two will collide and do heavy AoE damage near the collision. She will cast this frequently throughout the fight. Next there is Galaxius, which will knock everyone back radially outward, so when this cast begins, get to the center to avoid being pushed off. Another spell she has is Elenchos, in which either her mouth will begin to glow purple or she will have purple tears coming from her eyes. If her mouth glows purple, move to her sides, as she will do a powerful line attack down the middle. If she has the purple tears, stay front and center with her, as she'll do powerful AoE attacks on the sides. Death's Embrace is one that puts conal AoE markers on all players, and everyone needs to spread out to avoid overlapping damage. Immediately after the strike, feathers will drop on the arena. Stay away from them, as they'll do AoE damage to nearby players. Aporhoya is a cast that spawns 4 Endsinger heads that will all do line AoE damage. Just stand between them to avoid being hit. Hubris is a spell that will mark both tanks with red markers. They will need to spread apart to stay away from others. When the cast finishes, they will be hit pretty hard, and anyone near them will take the damage as well. Later in Phase 1, you'll start to see Elegeia Unforgotten, which does the same thing as Elegeia, except that after the two planets collide, they will freeze, then rewind a bit and play through the same collision. So you have to stay far from the slow planet for both collisions. Also, sometimes Elegeia Unforgotten will play this out with 2 pairs of colliding planets. When they rewind and re-collide, just note that they will collide in the same order the second time. Another late Phase 1 ability is Ecstasis, in which she will drop more heads on the floor that do AoE damage when they land, as well as spreading pools of AoE damage after that. This will cover most of the floor, but standing right up in the boss's face is an easy way to avoid being hit. Interstellar is a spell where she will say, "'Tis so lonely between the stars," then shortly after do a very wide line AoE down the center, so get to the edges to avoid it. At the same time, players will have AoE markers on them and will have to stay spread apart. The last ability for Phase 1 is Nemesis, in which players are marked with circular AoE and will need to spread apart. Eventually, you will see her cast Planetes, which is her transition to an intermediate phase. In the intermediate phase, you will fight an ad. The ad will pull planets to the floor that do heavy AoE damage around them when they crash. You'll see colorful tethers touching the floor, so avoid the points where they touch the floor to avoid taking collision damage. The ad will also put circular markers on everyone to spread apart. When the ad dies, you will see a message telling you you're 10 seconds away from Oblivion, and from there, more counts will be announced. Right around 3 seconds, a tank needs to use their third limit break or it's a wipe. There will actually be a second Oblivion, but it's far less deadly and a limit break is not necessary. Now we begin Phase 2, which only has a few mechanics and lasts until the Endsinger is killed. The first Phase 2 spell is Talos, which simply deals unavoidable damage to everyone, so healers watch out. She only has one other spell in Phase 2, Telomania. Telomania does 4 waves of minor unavoidable damage to everyone, followed by a bigger blast of unavoidable damage to everyone, followed by a bunch of AoE circles on the floor that can be moved out of to avoid damage. And that's everything the Endsinger does. She has quite a bit of moves, but ultimately the fight is not all that difficult. Good luck, have fun, and see you next time.